Good morning, YouTubers. This is the ShallowCross Sports Network with the Double A, bringing you another show. We're going to do a consolidated show this morning. With that said, let's get right on into it. Good morning. This is Double A. We're bringing you a new show this morning. We're going to probably touch on, finished up with the recaps on last week's games, and then we're also going to talk about the previews of the games coming up this weekend. And in addition, we're going to look at the Tennessee Titans, what they have to do to go out there to win. They're going out to play the Denver Broncos in Mile High Stadium. And so it's going to be Cam Warren's first start. So we're going to get right in. First off, we're going to look at the game between we're going to look at the we're going to recap the MTSU game, which was won by Austin Peay, I think 34-14, and Austin Peay went up there and they put it on Derek Mason. Coach Ferris had his guys ready, and they were able to beat an FBS opponent there in Murfreesboro on the road. And of course, hats off to Austin Peay. That was a miraculous performance for them, especially being an FCS school. And he bought in, I think it was like 48 players. He had to completely rebuild the team, and so that's an exceptional job that he did. And he's got Austin Peay here headed in the right direction, especially with losing the athletic director who did so much for the school. So I don't know who the new athletic director is right now, but we'll find out later on, and I'll give that to you. But anyway, just looking at the stats for Austin Peay and the MTSU game from last week. Let me stop that real quick. But anyway, let's see if we can get on the right one here. There we go. So Austin Peay, the quarterback was 11 of 22 for 142 yards and 2 TDs. The quarterback for MTSU was 15 of 36 for only 104 yards. That means Austin Peay's defense played very well. They still gave up 2 TDs to him. And that was the only 2 TDs they gave up. Rushing, MTSU, Jay Middlebrooks was 11 carries for 48 yards. They also stopped the run too. And then Austin Peay's running back C. Simmons had 10 carries, 35 yards, 1 TD. Receiving, Middle Tennessee State, M. Cox had 6 receptions for 50 yards and 2 TDs. And those were the 2 TDs that Vadiato threw. Austin Peay's S. Kirk had 3 receptions for 69 yards, and total yards for the game from MTSU was only 153. Austin Peay had 343 yards for the total game, and I think that was passing and running all together. First downs, MTSU had 19 first downs, but they just couldn't score. Austin Peay had 13. MTSU think MTSU had didn't have any turnovers. Austin Peay had 2, but they were able to overcome them. And so, just looking at it, I know the time of possession, Austin Peay probably was very efficient when it came to moving the ball and so forth. And then, of course, playing defense, that was the turning point in the game. Stopping Middle Tennessee from doing anything on offense was a key. And just looking at that, let's go over here to ESPN and look at the box score a little deeper. And when you look at the box score a little deeper, you really tell the story of what really went on. You know, like I said, 142 yards Parson had, and then of course Austin Peay's running game wasn't that great. But to hold Middle Tennessee to only 153 yards, that was exceptional. And then I think the turnover, the first downs, I think I had those backwards. That was Austin Peay had 19 first downs and 13 to Middle Tennessee's 13. And then just looking at the time of possession, Austin Peay controlled the ball game 38 minutes and 35 seconds to Middle Tennessee's 21 to 25 seconds. So that's 21 minutes and 25 seconds. So that's the key. That's the key of the game. The attendance had a big crowd up there. 18,505 was at that ball game. So they had a pretty good crowd. That was a great crowd for Red Floyd Stadium. So Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. So that was okay. And then just looking at the full stats, I think I went on penalties. Austin Peay had 9 penalties for looked like 48 yards, and Middle Tennessee had 4 penalties for 50 yards. But other than that, the game was won in the trenches with Austin Peay being able to stop and hold Middle Tennessee to only 153 yards. So next up for Middle Tennessee. I guess they go up and they play Wisconsin up there in Wisconsin. And then Austin Peay heads down to Georgia to play Georgia, so it doesn't get any easier for them. And so we'll have that for you for the next in the next week or so, or probably about a weekend. We'll be able to let you know something probably Friday night. But anyway, let's look at the I think I did the TSU. Let's look at the Vanderbilt game. So Vandy, they were able to win their game against Charleston Southern. Just looking at the stats here, Z. Osborne was quarterback for Charleston Southern. He's 8-16, 54 yards, 1 interception. D. Parvey, 25, 275 yards, 3 TDs. He had a good game, Parvey did. And then, of course, rushing, C. Stewart had 8 carries, 28 yards. And then Vandy's Alexander had 12 carries for 83 yards and 1 TD. And just looking at that key to the game, Charleston Southern could not stop the passing game of Vanderbilt. And then you go up here, Charleston Southern. Jay Bishop had 2 receptions for 36 yards. Stowers, the big tight end for Vanderbilt, he had 4 receptions for 86 yards. And of course, total yards, 135 yards total offense is all Charleston Southern had. So Vanderbilt stopped them cold on both sides of the ball. They won the game in the trenches. Vandy had 481 yards total offense. And so they was able to do whatever they really wanted, running the ball as well as passing. Charleston Southern had 2 turnovers. Vandy didn't have any. First downs, Charleston Southern had 7. Vandy had 25. So they controlled the whole entire ball game. Vanderbilt did, and that was the key to their win. So let's look out here and see if I can pull up ESPN's stats. Pop that over there to you and see. But so just looking at that, what some of the stuff I already have on my slide there. Like I said, running the ball. Buccaneers were not able to run the ball. They were not able to pass the ball. So Vanderbilt's defense just basically stopped them from doing anything that they wanted to do. Let's see, Bowen, defensive lineman, had a half a sack for Charleston Southern. And Z Wood, defensive lineman for Vanderbilt, had 1 sack. B. Cowan, linebacker, had 5 total tackles, 3 solo. And then, of course, I remember 481 to 135. 2 turnovers for Charleston Southern, 0 for Vanderbilt. Penalties, Vanderbilt had 7 for 60. Charleston Southern had 5 for 54. Third downs, they only had three third down attempts, and Vanderbilt had 6 third down attempts out of 9. The time of possession was 27 minutes and 51 seconds for Charleston Southern. Vanderbilt had the ball 32 minutes and 9 seconds during the game. So just looking at that, that's what the keys were. Vanderbilt won the game in the trenches, and they was able to score. They was able to move the ball. They was able to pass the ball, and let's see, look at the full stats and see what how Vandy ran the ball. So Vanderbilt had 204, looked like 204 yards rushing. So they was able to run also as well as pass. It looked like 280 yards passing. But Vanderbilt goes up against Vanderbilt going up to play. I think, let's see, who did I have Vanderbilt playing? Virginia Tech. I think that's a away game. I think Vandy has to go up to Blacksburg to play Virginia Tech. I picked Vanderbilt to win that game, and Vanderbilt's playing pretty good. We just have to wait and see. But that's tomorrow night in Blacksburg, Virginia. And so hats off to Coach Clark Lee on a great performance, and very good defensive performance as well as offensive performance. So just hope you all still continue to play the same way you played on last Saturday. And then the next game we're going to cover is the Memphis Tigers. And Memphis won their ball game. It was an easy game for them against Chattanooga. I think Memphis was, I'm pretty sure Memphis was able to run the ball as well as pass. So I'm gonna pop the stats over there to you and let you look at them. And basically just looking at it right here, Chattanooga. Chattanooga. Chattanooga had a hard time against Memphis. And so C.O. off the quarterback's 12, 19, 114 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions. Brandon Lewis, the transfer, and he's a 6-year transfer in the portal from Nevada. He had 22, he was 22 28, 199 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Chattanooga's running back, R. Ingram, had 8 carries for 68 yards. Memphis's quarterback led the team in passing and rushing. He had 10 carries for 81 yards and 1 TD. And then, so he had 2 TDs total for himself. Receiving yards, Chattanooga's M. Quick had 4 receptions for 40 yards. Memphis's transfer receiver, C. Brahim, he had 3 receptions for 52 yards and 1 TD. Total yards for Chattanooga was 232. Memphis's total yards 432 yards. Turnover margin was won by Memphis. Memphis had 1 turnover to Chattanooga's 2. And then first downs, Chattanooga had 14 and Memphis had 24. So the keys to the game, looks like Memphis was able to win the passing game and the rushing game. And that's the key. Memphis is, don't know who Memphis is going up to play on this next round. Let me see here. Look at the ESPN stats for Memphis. Let's see. But anyway, Memphis, just going over some of the same stuff I've already given, but I can give to you a little bit more in depth. Sacks. Memphis is Jalen Bale. He's a Tennessee State transfer. Had 1 sack for 1 tackle for loss and 1 sack. And then Bracy, defensive back, had 10 tackles. And of course, Memphis had the ball. Chattanooga had the ball long, 31 minutes and 33 seconds to Memphis' 28 minutes and 26 seconds. Penalties, Memphis had 3 of 35. Chattanooga was 3 of 25. And on third downs, Memphis was 5 of 9 on third downs. Chattanooga was 2 of 12. So they did, Memphis basically won the game in the trenches too. They couldn't stop Memphis's offense, especially through the air. They had, they were able to do basically whatever they wanted in this game. Chattanooga played them pretty tough at first quarter, so. But rushing, Memphis had 233 yards or 253 yards rushing. And then passing, they had 190, it looked like 199 yards passing. So they was able to run the ball and they were able to pass the ball on Chattanooga. And so that was the keys to the game. That's the key to Chattanooga winning, Memphis winning that game. So, and like I say, Memphis goes up to play on the next ball game they're playing Georgia State. I don't know if that's a home game or not for Memphis. But the games get tougher as the weeks go by, and Memphis is going to have a pretty good team. The defense played exceptionally well, and offense played exceptionally well too. So Coach Silverfield has got them playing again. Now, in order to get into the playoffs as a group of 5, you got to win all your games. You can't lose any games. Looks like Tulane's going to be tough to beat. And of course, Coach Goshi's down there at South Florida's got them playing exceptionally well also. And so that looks like that's going to be the 2 teams that's going to compete against Memphis for that American Conference Championship. And I guess that should end the recaps from last week. So just looking at what's going on this week coming up, you got Tennessee State playing FCS Power, North Dakota State. That's in the Nissan Stadium. And the outlook on that game is Tennessee State just can't make any mistakes. Got to be able to pass the ball better than they did last week. And if they can pass the ball and mix it and blend it in with the run, because Rhymes, he had a real good game running the ball. If they can do that, then they have a chance to at least stay with North Dakota State. Now, some big news coming out of Tennessee State. They had a transfer, Starling, running back from North Arizona, who had played with Tennessee State a few years ago. He was ruled ineligible, so he's removed from the roster. So they're going to have to use some of the other running backs that they have on their roster to try to solidify the running game against North Dakota State. And so I'm just looking here. Let me see if I can look at their roster real quick and see who might be able to help Rhymes out in this game coming up on Saturday. Just looking at it, this is Tennessee State's roster on their website. So Kendrick Rhymes, he had 174 yards rushing against North Carolina A&T. But just looking down their roster, not knowing what their depth chart looks like, they have several running backs that could come in and help Rhymes. He gonna need some help in this game. Let me see here. We got Jalen Suggs. He's a true freshman, and then you got looks like Tyson Jefferson is another running back. He's a transfer. I think he played last year. Transfer from Western Kentucky. And then you got Tavion Porter, senior running back from College of DuPage. Now he may have to be the one to come in and help Rhymes. And then let's see. You got another running back, Zach Simmons Brown, and he's a redshirt freshman. He's a junior college transfer. And then you got Trevor Pearson, redshirt sophomore. He's a transfer from Prairie View A&M. And let's see, then Deuce Walker, he's another redshirt freshman. Well, he's actually a freshman from Glendale, Arizona. And Jonathan Moore. Now, Jonathan Moore, he's from Davidson Academy. He's a freshman. Not Davidson Academy. He's from Montgomery Bell Academy. I remember him when he signed. He should be, yeah, he's a redshirt sophomore, so he should be ready to play by now. And then Ethan Cunningham, He played last year also, and he's a transfer from North Alabama. And so they have a host of running backs that can help them win and play in this game tomorrow. So my assessment of TSU, based on what I saw, I watched the game on ESPN Plus, and Tennessee State offensive line played better than I expected them to play. The receivers, Slaughter, he was real good. Slaughter had a real good game catching the ball. He had that one pass where he just took off with it. The quarterback, Palmer, he going to get better as it goes. He hit some more receivers, and he made some errant throws. But I listened to Coach on his preview, Coach Barlow, and he seems to think that he played better than what they expected him to play. So we'll see what he does against North Dakota State. And he looks like he's gonna be a pretty good quarterback. He comes from a great pedigree, being the nephew of the Palmer boys. Jordan Palmer and Carson. And of course, Jordan is a quarterback whisperer. He goes out and trains. He's a trainer. He trains and develops quarterback. I think he has a camp. I don't know if his brother Carson plays in there or not. But anyway. And then looking at Tennessee. Tennessee has got a big game with East Tennessee State University. So the quarterback, they have two-head monster at quarterback. And McNamara, who played for Michigan last year, he transferred in the portal to East Tennessee State. And then the head coach used to be the head coach at Austin Peay. And his name is Healy. Healy coached at Austin Peay and turned him around, and then he got the job over at Charlotte, and everything didn't work out well at Charlotte, so he's now head coach again at ETSU. He was an offensive guru, and he came from Chattanooga to Austin Peay. And then Tennessee needs to play every one of the young players in this game, and play the older guys a little, and then give them some rest so they can have them fresh for Georgia. Tennessee's without the two starting corners, and you got a defensive lineman. Campbell's hurt. Moy, another defensive tackle, he's hurt. I would put Robson in there for just a little while if he wanted to play, and then save him for Georgia. And then Moy should be back and available for Tennessee for the Georgia game. And then of course the young defensive backs that they have, they should be there too. And just looking at it, I'm gonna look at here what let's see here. Just looking at what they got here, on the defensive side of the ball, as far as the defensive backs, right now, Farouk, he started at free safety, and of course Turntine started at the strong safety, and of course Colton Hood played real well, transferred from Colorado. He's gonna probably hold down that left corner, and then you got some young freshmen, Sidney Walton and Timothy Moret can come in there and play. You got Caleb Beasley. I think Caleb played a little bit in this game, in the game against Syracuse. And then, of course, Tyler Redmond played about 60 snaps in that game. So you got some guys that's going to be able to get in there and play. And then you got some other young freshman corners and safeties, Dylan Lewis and Trey Poteet, who's Hank Poteet's son, and he comes from a great pedigree. And then of course Boo Carter can come in and play that star, or he can come in and play that free safety or strong safety. And then of course McMurray is going to hold down one of them. McMurray is capable of playing corner as well as safety, so and the star position. So they'll be ready. And then you're gonna see the defensive lineman. Wallace has got to come in there and play. Hobbs is gonna be out probably. You won't see him until the Mississippi State game. So you're gonna have to have Isaiah Campbell and Nate Robinson in there playing, and along with Bryson Easton at that strong tackle position, and basically that nose tackle position. And then of course the defensive tackle. Moe Wallace is going to have to come in there and play that position along with Ethan Utley. So those guys are going to have to see some playing time. And then, of course, all three of the Leos that played last week, they're going to be in there playing. And that was Joseph Herring and Jordan Ross. Now, I wouldn't play Joseph number a little while and let the younger guys play. And then linebackers, I think the Harmon, he played a little bit. Number 12, Bolton, he played a little, and he's like Bolton is he's a red shirt junior, I believe, and then of course Jordan Burns is another good player that needs to get in there and play, also. So. We'll just see what they do. You know, you got Carter. You shouldn't have to play Carter and T-Lander the whole game. So those young guys get in there and play in their spots, and help them out. But anyway, that's the story on Tennessee, and they should have an easy time at East Tennessee. Even though East Tennessee played well, they really shut down Murray on both sides of the ball. And of course Murray's FCS as well as ETSU is FCS, but ETSU beat them like they was a group of 5 or a Power 4 school. And so you can't underestimate these FCS schools anymore, especially with the portal, because a school at that level could have a lot of good players. Could have some blue chips mixed in with some highly recruited players that just went to the FCS. And so that's the game outlook for the Tennessee game. And then of course Vandy has to go up and play Virginia Tech. I think Vandy, I'm picking Vandy to win that game, and so Vandy just got to do what they did last week. And then of course Memphis plays Georgia State. Don't know what Georgia State has. But Memphis should be able to go in there and handle their business, especially if it's a home game. And then of course the Austin Peay's going down to Georgia. It's gonna be a tough game for them down there in Georgia. Georgia gonna want to run the ball, so Austin Peay has to stop the run. And the new quarterback, he hasn't really got his passing skills going yet. And so hopefully they won't be good when Tennessee plays them next week. But that should be an easy game for Georgia, but Austin Peay may give them some trouble. And then of course, last but not least, the Tennessee Titans headed out to Denver to play the Broncos. And this is going to be Coach Callahan's first start for his new first-round pick quarterback, Cam Ward. I've seen him just a little bit, maybe maybe one quarter I saw in Cam Ward, and he looked good in that quarter. Every time he was in, he looked like he was ready to play. And so we're hoping that they go out there and don't let that altitude at Mile High affect them too much to where they won't be able to play in the third and fourth quarter and they'll be gassed. But I think Callahan, he was an assistant out there back when they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning, and so he knows how to get those guys in shape and ready. I think they going out. They've already gone out there, I believe. I think they flew out there today, and so they got to give them 2 days to practice and get ready for the game on Sunday. But getting back to Tennessee, had one of the players that helped get them up to number 7 in the national rankings in recruiting flipped from them to North Carolina yesterday, and they said it was all about money. He wanted more money and came back to Tennessee. Tennessee made him an offer, and then he went back to North Carolina. North Carolina made him an offer, and then he came back to Tennessee again, from what I understand from the media outlets, and wanted more money, and Tennessee just said, no, we're not gonna give you that money. So apparently North Carolina must have gave more money than Tennessee. But Tennessee's got a sender, and they have Baker, another offensive tackle, coming in, and there's another guy they have. Let's look at this and see. Let's see here. But they are in the recruiting. Let me log in here. But this is gonna knock Tennessee down just a taste. Let's look at the recruiting team rankings, and then we'll. But like I said, USC is leading the pack right now, number 1, Georgia number 2, Oregon number 3, Notre Dame number 4, Texas is number 5, A&M is number 6, and then of course Alabama's number 7. And Alabama and Tennessee. Alabama has 4 5-stars on their recruiting path for 2026. And then of course Oregon has 4 5-stars also, and the Tennessee is ranked 8th according to On3 Rivals. And they, like I said, they lost Shabazz, and he was a big get for them. Lost him to North Carolina. But and the thing about it, I just tell you, I was asked a couple of questions. One, blue chippers. Blue chippers, to me, are any players who's in the ESPN 300 or ranked in the National 300 with their media outlets On3, Rivals, and 24/7. So if you're in that top 300 players, you're a blue chipper. Now you have some guys that develop and they never make it to the blue chip status. But when they get to the colleges that they committed to, they turn into top-notch players. It's a known fact that more 3-stars make it in the NFL than 4 and 5s. And now it's a lot of 5-stars that get drafted in the first round, a lot of 4-stars get drafted in the first round, and a lot of 3s. And the 3s are the development. But as a matter of fact, most of the schools in the American Conference, Sun Belt, and the MAC, that's what they live off of: 3 and 2-star players and no star players. And so they just get them down there and develop them. Now with the NIL and the transfer portal, you have kids that develop at the FCS level. FBS schools come after them, especially if they hit the portal. Now, there's probably some tampering going on with those players, but basically the FCS is the feeder league for the FBS right now. You know, you take a kid, he's getting $50,000 NIL at the FCS level, and a Power 5 or Group of 5 or Power 4 school offer him, say, we want you to come play for us, we'll give you $200,000. He's gone. You know, and so that's what's happening. Then another thing that you got to look at too is players want to play. So if you get a whole lot of 5 and 4-star players, blue chip players in there, and they're not getting any playing time, then they're gonna leave in the portal. And it won't be for the money, it'll be just to get a chance to play. Now, the FCS is going to develop players, and you're going to see a bunch of them leave again. All these schools, Tennessee State, Austin Peay, Tennessee Tech, ETSU, all these schools, if they have real good programs and they do real well this year, you're going to see the Power 4 and the Group of 5 grab their players, just like it was last year. Austin Peay lost a lot of players to a Group of 5 and Power 4. Tennessee State lost, I think the total I saw go to Group of 5 and Power 4 from Tennessee State was like 16. And some of those guys are starting at the Power 5, Power 4 and Group of 5 schools. Just a case in point, Jalen Bell played for Tennessee State last year. He had the only sack from a defensive lineman for Memphis. He started at defensive tackle for Memphis. Started at tackle for Tennessee State last year. And so that's the story. That's the story on the lay of the land for college football. And it was another question that was asking me yesterday. I think we covered the blue chip. We covered how guys commit and you still have other schools after them. So that's just like all of these kids that's on this list here for Tennessee. Listed here for Tennessee, they haven't signed anything yet. None of them. And so the first signing period, I think, if it has not changed, is in December. And then the portal will open up, and I'm thinking the portal may have changed to where the coaches complained about the portal being open in December. And so they may have made a change on that, the NCAA. So we just have to wait and see what happens with that. But it's no guarantee any of these guys on this list comes to Tennessee, you know, especially if you got other schools trying to attack them. And they have not signed anything at this stage yet. So that's one of the difficult things that teams have to worry about, especially with the schools today and the NIL and the transfer portal. But and then it's another thing too. There's another question was out. I was asked, transfer portal. Do kids get stuck in the transfer portal? And that is a true statement. They get stuck. Some kids never find a team. Some teams, it depends on how you are presented to the team. And once you get out in the portal, if you have no film to show a school, you're going to get stuck in that portal and not find a job. And so you may have to go down to the FCS level or down to the Division II level to find a job with playing time. And that's just the way it is. But like I said, some big games coming up. One of the biggest games on this weekend is going to be the Illinois. It's Illinois against. You got Michigan going out to play Oklahoma. That's a big game. Illinois against Duke. That's a big game. and of course, I think most of the other teams are playing teams that they can beat. It's not as tough as it's going to be for those schools, because those are two of the big games this weekend: Michigan and Oklahoma, and the game between Duke and Illinois. Another game, Arizona and Mississippi State. Mississippi State went out and got a whole new offensive line. They went out and got some running backs, because that was the shortcoming that they had last year. They couldn't run the ball on anybody. And that's going to be a tough game for Tennessee down the road also, Mississippi State, because they have to go down to Starkville and play them. But just looking at that, that's going to end this show. This was a consolidated show, and just explaining to you, if I do a team show, I'll be wearing that team's hat. If I do a consolidated show, I'll just have a hat on, a neutral hat, and neutral shirt. But the other thing too is the logos on my shows are changed for the consolidated show, and then I'll use a logo or some kind of clip art indicating the team that I'm covering if I do an individual team show. With that said, I appreciate you listening in on this show. I hope the content is good for you. If you like it, subscribe. That helps the channel, and it helps me also be able to keep this going. I like giving back to the community. I like giving back to the fans, and I'm a big football fan, pro fan, as well as college fan, and my teams are the teams I cover. And so if you have any questions, I'm getting ready to try to get the technology set up on YouTube to where I can start doing a chat and doing some live streams. I'm going to start doing some live streams. Probably do a live stream tonight if possible. And if I can get my chat working, anyone that's listening to this show can ask questions on my chat, and I'll answer them as we go through the show. This is the ShallowCross Sports Network and the AA. We appreciate you for listening in, and God bless, and we'll see you on the next show.